Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and show some support. Today I'm going to show you how to use the magic eraser in Canva. So first of all, I'm going to go to Canva's gallery and find some images that I can demonstrate with. And I'm going to keep it very simple with very, simple backgrounds and colors to start off so that I can show you how to magically erase very specific objects or items in an image without ruining the rest of the image. I find this tool super useful for when you really just want to make a very quick edit before you post on social media, or just any type of edit that you want to make. You want to remove blemishes from portraits, or you want to remove someone from an image, from a photograph that was taken, perhaps wedding photos, and you want to remove someone, or just anything you can think of where you want to remove something that was captured on camera that should not be there. So we're going to start off with this very simple image of a bunch of dots, and we're going to remove a couple of the dots from the image. So you're going to go to the menu above. You're going to select edit, and then you are going to select magic eraser from the menu. When you select this option, then it's going to open up a little window where you can go into details. So you can choose exactly what you erase and how you erase. So you have your brush. You just select or, highlight the area where the object is that you want to erase, and you just click erase. And that's it. It will load a little bit so that the program can work and detect exactly what you want to erase without ruining the rest of the image. And it will just erase that spot that you have selected, and only that spot. So I'm demonstrating again. It is scanning for exactly that spot that I highlighted with the brush, and it is going to erase it without interfering with the rest of the image. And this is the best way that I can explain it. It's super practical, super easy, super quick. As you know, everything is super quick and practical and easy in Canva. But this is such a helpful tool and very, very advanced, I must say. So now I'm going to show you how to use the same tool on a different picture. And as you can see in this picture, it's a flower field, and it's a little more busy and a little more cluttered. And it's going to be very hard to go in and erase very specific details from an image like this, because everything sort of overlaps and everything is in layers. So I'm going to go back again to that menu, click edit, and select magic eraser. Then I'm going to select one of the flowers, perhaps a bud, and erase just that from the image. So I'm going to make the brush a bit smaller, and I'm going to highlight the flower that I want to erase from this image, and I'm going to erase it. So like I did before, I'm just going to adjust the brush size and highlight the flower that I want to erase. Then I'm just going to click erase, and I'm going to wait for the tool to work, and then I'm going to see the results. So it's scanning, and I'm just going to wait for that to scan, and voila, there we go. The flower has disappeared. As you can see, the stem is left behind. And yeah, that's basically how it works. So very, very useful, a very useful tool, I must say. Now I'm going to try the same thing, but with a bigger flower. And listen, I don't want to erase any of the clouds in the background. And basically this tool is pretty accurate, and it won't interfere with any of the cloud details in the background. It will just erase the flower. And yeah, that's it. As you can see, my flower has disappeared, and nothing has been interrupted, altered, modified at all. Now I'm going to go a bit further and I'm going to try to remove a stem. As you can see, there are a whole bunch of stems overlapping each other. So if you try to do this, perhaps in Photoshop or Illustrator, it would be so hard. Well, depending on your skill set, but it would be pretty, a pretty daunting task to just erase one little detail in such a cluttered image. But in Canva, all you have to do is select Magic Eraser, highlight exactly what you want to delete, and yeah, that's it. Basically, you can see my stem has disappeared and nothing else has been erased and nothing has been interrupted in the image. So now I'm going to demonstrate on much simpler images, and I also need to say that this tool works much better on more simplistic images, of course. So that is something that you should keep in mind. Say I want to get rid of this phone. I'm going to go back to my menu, select the Magic Eraser tool and highlight this phone and basically, click erase and it's going to erase it for me. I'm sure you're also wondering, what are the other options next to brush? Click, foreground, text, and basically when you select click, it auto detects the object that you want to erase. So I selected click. I clicked on the laptop because that's what I want to erase next, and it highlights the object pretty accurately. And then you select erase, and there we go. The laptop is gone. And when you select text, it does the exact same thing. It will only erase the text. When you select foreground, it will auto detect every object in the image, and then you can just select which one you want to erase, basically. I do also want to let you know that sometimes you will have to use all three of these tools to achieve the effect that you want. And like, for example, this pen in this image, I want to erase this pen, but there is a shadow that this pen is casting because of the lighting. So what you will have to do sometimes is use the brush tool and the click tool and the foreground tool. So when you use the click tool, it will select the pen only, but leave the shadow behind. And you don't want the shadow if the pen is not there. So then you will probably have to use the brush tool to go behind and clean up. But it's still very effective, even though it does, complicate the process a bit more. It is still pretty much effective and much less tedious than going in and opening Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever other program to achieve the same results. So as you can see with the click tool, I've made the pen disappear pretty much. But now I have the shadow that is just sitting there. So I'm going to take the brush tool and I'm going to select the shadow because I want that gone. And I'm going to press erase, and there we go. It's going to erase the shadow. So now there's no trace of that pen. So sometimes in certain situations, you might have to use a combination of all of these tools. So the brush, the click option, the foreground option, and the text option. So now I'm going to show you how to use the same exact tool for portraits. And this is a very helpful tool when it comes to portraits because sometimes you have to retouch an image that you've taken or that was taken of you, and you want to remove certain blemishes that you just don't like. Whether it be a pimple, a dark spot, wrinkles, whatever, you name it. And you can use this tool, the Magic Eraser, and select the brush because it's much, you have much more control over the area that you want to erase. And then you can make the brush bigger or smaller depending on how much of how much skin you want to cover. I want to get rid of these 3, 4, a few dark spots on this elderly man's face, and I'm going to use this tool. So I've selected my areas, I've clicked erase, and now I'm waiting for Canva to work its magic and magically erase these blemishes, but not anything else on the man's face. So another thing that you will realize is that it looks a bit blurry, at least the spots that I have magically erased. And I feel like it's because I have to go into much more detail. You can't really rush this process, especially when it comes to editing skin, a portrait. I feel like you have to go in much more detail. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to restart the process. But just in case you were wondering about the foreground, that is basically what the foreground tool does. It will select the main object on your image, the main subject. And we don't want that. We still want his face, but we don't want the dark spots. So I'm going to go in and do this one by one. And of course, when you go into more detail, you'll get a more accurate result. So I'm going to start with one blemish and erase that. And then we're going to see if the results are much better. So as you can see, I feel that the results are much, much better when I do everything one by one and not rush the process. And I feel like it doesn't blur so much. You can clearly see that the skin has not been affected. The texture has not been affected. Just the blemish has been erased. Now I'm going to keep going and I'm going to try to erase another dark spot, and I repeat the same process, highlight that with my brush. I made the brush much smaller to be much more accurate, and I'm basically just waiting for Canva to work its magic and erase that blemish. So I'm going to zoom in and you can see how it has erased the dark spot much better than our first attempt. Now I'm going to try to attempt the bigger blemish. I'm going to select my brush again and I'm going to make the brush much smaller and not so big like last time. And I'm going to go in and try to trace the exact shape of the blemish. And I feel like in this way I can be more accurate and I'll get better results. So let's see what we get. So I'm waiting for Canva to work its magic and then we will see the results. And I feel like this is much better. And that is as easy as it gets with the Canva Magic Eraser tool. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something. If you've watched till the end, thank you so much. I hope you find this tool very useful and I'll be back with more Canva tips in the next video. Thank you so much again and see you in the next video. Bye!